The prophet of thought. Open your mind, 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 open your mind. Open your mind, 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 open your mind.
Open your mind. Dark exodus. The frontiers. Dark exodus. Open your mind. Yeah, X. Dark exodus. You understand? Yeah, X. You understand? Open your mind. Dark exodus. You understand? dark exodus, dark exodus, dark exodus, dark exodus.
And peace, folks. Welcome back to another special edition of the T.P.O.T. YouTube page. Special edition, Dark X Live D.X.L. I know we usually do this on Thursdays, y'all, but this was the only day that I could get my brother up here, so we doing it tonight. Welcome back to the Proper Thought series right here on the old T.P.O.T. YouTube page. I'm your host, X, of course, but you knew that already. That's why your black ass is here. Tonight, we're going to be throwing down with my brother, Don C. But before we get started, y'all know I always start the show like this. I come in and I thank you good folks out there, you good folks right here in this here chat room for your support, for your views, your like, your shares, your subscriptions, and of course, your hard-earned coins. Because I appreciate all y'all, man. I do. I really appreciate all of y'all. I don't say it to kiss your butts. By now, you know I don't kiss your black butts. I say it because I mean it, man. You know, I mean, the support y'all give this channel is out of this world, man. It's outstanding. Like I always say, man, there's nowhere I can go and people don't know who I am. And I know it's not because of me. I know it's because of you good folks out there and you good folks right here in this here chat room, man. And I want y'all to know, man, that I appreciate y'all, man. You know, I'm humbled, I'm honored, I'm appreciative, man. And I'm thankful for all y'all good folks. You understand? All right. All right. Let's get at it tonight. We are going to be throwing down with my man, Don C. We're going to be dropping some science. So let me bring my brother up.
Hey,
Brother,
what's happening, everybody?
what's good with it, man?
Yeah, doing all right. I should have given you a more up-to-date photo because since I last took that picture there, I got a little more gray, as you can tell. The stresses of raising a daughter.
Yeah, I know, man. Been there. It's been a while since you and I have chopped it up, you know, like online. I mean, we talk behind the scenes and stuff like that, but
yeah,
it's been a while. It's been a while since
been
we've
a
been
long time. Yeah.
up here, you know, if you will.
And speaking of that, to the few people who are in the chat room, remember the like button is to your left. Just press it. Thank you very much. Show Brother X some love.
Yeah, you know, you always got to tell these folks to do that. You know, you would think you asking them to grab a handful of lightning by freaking hitting that goddamn. I actually, I'm more impressed with the people who hit the dislike because at least they hit something, you know, at least they hit something. So let's start here.
Let's get out of the
man.
way. All right, folks, you got to put your finger right there. You're going to move it over there. Hit that button. Like Brother X would always say.
Yeah,
if
man.
Your black ass is here, you might as well hit the like.
Nice and slow. Just slide it over nice and slow and click.
Yes.
And you're done. You're done.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what you been up to, man? Before we get into the other stuff, what you been up to, brother?
Well, as you know, with the whole COVID thing, I spent about 5 months basically stuck at home, you know, working from home, which is not the same as being in the lab. Spent a lot of that time actually keeping an eye on Mini-Me, making sure she was paying attention at, you know, doing school virtually, making sure she was doing her homework. That contributed a lot to the graying of the beard because, trust me, it was a lot more black in March. And, you know, dealing with that stress and, you know, been back in the lab, back on a more regular schedule, helping to fight cancer, you know.
Well, they say gray is an indicator of wisdom. That's what my old man used to say all the time. You know, gray is an indicator of wisdom. So, you know.
That too.
Well, what a lot of people probably don't know about you, Brother Don sees. You're a scientist, right? You're a scientist.
Yes, yes, I am. Just like just like our brother BGS, who was a chemist, by training. Let me see. Our sister Nicole Ali, who I like to call my Sith apprentice, also a lab scientist. Let me see. Another person who I think was either a scientist or engineer. I think Kevin Samuels used to be in the sciences, same as Glendon Cameron. So I'm in good company.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Well,
Oh, and I forgot. I got to shout out Dr. Anwar Dunbar with Big Discussion 76 channel. He's an actual, he's a toxicologist, and I think he does toxicology, and I forgot what and pharmacologist. Yeah, he's also a good black science channel for people to check out.
Yep, get on down there and check it out, folks. Well, you scientists, nerdy guys, people have referred to you guys as lames, if you will, because you guys have those big old brains. So, people have referred to you as lames. What's your take on that, being a scientist, also known as a lame? What's your take on that, man?
Well, as far as not now that I'm a U.S. citizen for about a year, I'm a real Negro now. I can say in Black America, from what I've seen in my 20 years here, it is considered lame. I mean, how much more lame it gets than this? I mean, you see this? Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. Ooh, more Star Wars, Star Wars, Star Wars. And ooh, what do we got here? Some science books, calculus, electron microscopy, physics, some biology stuff. So, yeah, I guess you could say I'm lame. So,
yeah, you got books in your house. Books to Negroes is like, I say this shit all the time. Books to Negroes is like the crucifix to Dracula. You put that shit on his hand and it'd be like, you put a book on a Negro hand, boy, shit'll melt. Like throwing water on one of the wicked witches in the Wizard of Oz and shit. But so why do you think we have this thing with us, man? I'm gonna ask you. Why do you think we have this thing with us, man? We're really, really smart guys, really, really big brains, guys like yourself, scientists and the like. Why do you think we as Black folks have a tendency to be like, these guys are lame, these guys are why do you think we have that impression of you guys?
I'm not sure how accurately I could describe that, for the simple fact that I did not grow up here. I came to the US, I was already an adult, legally speaking. I came from college. So not having grown up in the environment, I couldn't say. But I would guess that it's just maybe not, it's probably not something that's as valued in this culture as, say, like when I was back in Haiti, or even when I lived in Africa, where, especially where you come with third world conditions, if you have an education, that's looked up as a great thing. It's looked up as, hey, you got potential to do big things. Whereas from what I've observed here in this country, it's more about, I guess, swag takes precedence over academic, professional achievement. It's more about the presentation. And I'll be the first to admit, yes, I was very much socially retarded growing up, because my parents pushed me for education first. So, they kind of held on tight, especially with all the issues that was going on in Haiti. They were afraid to let me out, let me go party, being an only child and everything. So it was all about get your books first, women, party, that all that will come later. So now, as far as my counterparts here in the US, I don't know. I guess if you could say the way I grew up was the equivalent of Theo Huxtable. I wasn't Carlton Banks rich, but I was more like a Theo Huxtable type. So my understanding is a lot of people think that maybe it exists, but it's not real. So it's probably not seen as being authentic. Plus, I mean, let's be honest. I guess for a lot of women, irrespective of culture, the swag part, that has its appeal. To be a scientist, to be where I am, unless you were fortunate to grow up someplace where your social skills were honed, it's gonna be boring. You got to spend a lot of time, when you're in school. You got to spend a lot of time in the lab studying. You got to give up on a lot of social activities in order to succeed. So that's a sacrifice.
So I'm assuming from what you're saying, you were involved with STEM even as a young guy. As like a teenager, you were always into you were focused towards the STEM direction as a young kid, right?
You could say I knew that's what I wanted to do since around age 6. Before I even returned to Haiti, when I used to live in Zaire, my parents used to read some science. It was a scientific magazine. It covered all kind of areas in STEM, be it biology, physics, whatever. It's called Science V, which means science and life. I used to read the junior edition, but then anytime the grown-up edition would show up with anything to do with DNA, I would be reading the articles, even if I didn't understand it. So by age 6, my parents figured out that, oh, this kid wants to be a scientist. So they sat me down. They were like, hey, if you want to be a scientist, go for it. To try to be a doctor just to imitate your parents, we'll support you. And by the time I was in the 8th grade, I knew I wanted to be a scientist. I was already thinking in terms of, when I graduate college, do I want to go for a PhD, a master's, or MD PhD? I didn't do it. I ended up with just a master's. But since I was a kid, I knew that's what I wanted. And once I came to the States for college, yes, I went straight into biology, never looked back.
Well, let's jump ahead a little bit. What brought you here around us Negroes who have very little interest in science or anything? No, I'm just fucking around. What brought
me
you here?
around Negro? It's called highly active epidermal melanocytes. Ask a sister Nicole Ali in the chat room to translate in plain English.
Oh yeah, I see. If you don't mind, I want to bring Lady Nicole up if she got time. Because it would be good to have two nerds up here at once, man.
She's my Sith apprentice. I'm training her in the ways of the dark side. I'm training her in the way of the dark side. Eventually, at some point, when she grows powerful enough in the Force, she'll duel me. She'll kill me. She'll become the Dark Lord of the Sith and take an apprentice of her own.
Yeah, I had Lady Nicole was on my show a while back. I had her, I believe, Dr. Ford and Paulina Johnson. I had 3 ladies up, 3 professional ladies, and we chopped it up. So come on up, Lady Nicole, if you ain't doing nothing. We can make this the night of the nerds if you want to. Make it the night of the nerds.
Hey, if we get Dr. Dunbar on too, that'll be great.
Yeah, man. Come on up. Let's do it. So my first when I first learned of you, I believe I'm trying to remember if it was through ODJ or Obsidian. Because what a lot of people probably don't know about Brother Don C is that Brother Don C is you do a lot of behind the scenes stuff for people.
I used to do a lot of more of that back during Blog Talk Radio. Like, if anybody's been around what some people call Black Manosphere 1.0, which is the Black YouTube gender wars of 2008, 2009, when things got really heated on YouTube and the women kept flagging guys' channels down, a lot of the stuff got taken over to Blog Talk Radio. And I was with some guys, where we used to not so much, we confront the women about the talking points and stuff. So I've been around for a while. At one point, apparently, I was infamous for being the most prolific bootleg promoter of Black-owned shows on BTR. Like, I would put on the information out on Facebook for different people I recommend, and apparently it helped them do a lot of good numbers. So that's how people got to know who I was. And I tried to carry it on here on YouTube, but in the meantime, between then and now, I got married, became a father, had a few job changes, schedule change. So I'm nowhere near as active as I used to be back in the day as far as helping out folks. But that is one way I got to be involved with the Negroes. It was behind the scenes. I would either help run the switchboard for shows on BTR, help promote, do stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And what a lot of people don't know, that he actually did a lot of helpful stuff for me as well. Brother Don Calypso here to my left actually sent me an external hard drive so I can load up my shit and my damn computer don't be acting all wacky. So I have him to thank for that, because he actually sent me one. I mean, he just sent it to me, man. Like, he just said, "Hey, X, I'm going to send you this." I guess, because they have such big brains, they can think and they know the shit you need. And that shit came right on time. Because my damn computer was in the red at the time that he sent it.
Well, I'll tell you this. From the time when I was on Blog Talk Radio, where it was all audio, to people on YouTube, I mean, video takes up way space. I mean, the encoding, the files are encoded at a much higher bit rate. So I knew it was going to happen. So the first two people I sent a hard drive to were Obsidian and Angry Man. And then I got a friend of mine, Lance Scurv. He was on Blog Talk Radio. He's still on YouTube now. It's been for years. I sent him one. I think I sent Char Willie, BGS, and yourself. And once I've saved up enough, I'll probably be trying to hook up a few more fellow folks with the hard drive to save their stuff, because I know it accumulates fast. Maybe my apprentice here, who's on with us, maybe at some point I'll send her a 2 terabyte hard drive too. She's starting to push out content, so I know she's gonna need storage.
Oh yeah, and we've been joined by Lady Nicole. What's good, Lady Nicole? It's been a while.
How you doing? Good evening.
I'm good.
Can you hear me all right?
Yep.
You gotta speak up a little more.
Okay, let me turn my volume some more. Can you hear me now?
Yep.
Use the force, Nicole. Use the force.
So
yeah, I appreciate it. I didn't want to come in and rough anything, but I appreciate the invite.
Absolutely. Shoot, I wanna fill it up with nerds tonight. I want to fill it up with all these big brain folks tonight. So what have you been up to, Lady Nicole? I know it's been a while since you and I have spoke. What have you been up to?
Not too much as far as professionally. Personally, a lot of things have happened, changes, but professionally, it's really just getting projects done, getting things put out as far as publication and finishing up clinical trials, starting another one this year. So it's kind of hectic because of COVID-19, but just like right now, trying to figure out last year when I was talking with you, or the last time we spoke, I was working on a project that was more transcriptional based, dealing with the sequencing of genes and just discovering new genes and mutations for prostate cancer. And so now we're moving on to prostate cancer metabolism and metastasis. So understanding how the tumor cells eat, they need a lot of sugar. They're kind of diabetic in that way, but they need a whole lot of sugar to survive. So we're using different drugs that we've developed to block their ability to eat and digest sugars. And then looking at all the amino acid changes, and finally at the end, hopefully we'll be able to determine if there's a difference in how these cells of the prostate are functioning between the palm colored people, white men and black men. That's the final stage. We haven't gotten there yet.
Wow. Yeah, I remember that when we spoke, you were talking about that, and I was saying that, people don't know that Lady Nicole is out there trying to do some scientific work to help the brothers.
Yeah.
All right? Keep that in mind. Remember that. She's actually working on trying to help our black asses. Let me
Making sure that the trumpet of Jericho can still break down walls. That's some good work.
Oh, Lord.
Well, let me ask you two scientists, being that I have two scientists up here, how often do you see that on the T.P.O.T YouTube page? I got you two scientists up here. Let me ask you, folks, about this COVID thing. It's kind of got the country in a stranglehold. Even though people feel like it's not real, it's a hoax, it's 5G is making it happen. And I've heard, I don't know how many stories about it's a conspiracy. I've heard it was dropped from planes or grown in the ground. I've heard some ridiculous stuff. So let me ask you first, Don C, then I'll go to you, back to you, Lady Nicole. What's your take on this COVID thing, Brother Don C?
Well, I got to tread lightly because, I know the CCP is probably watching, but honestly, I believe that particular, whatever that strain is, it probably had a natural reservoir in bats because, they were studying the coronaviruses in bats. What I suspect happened is they probably isolated it, managed to get the virus growing in mammalian or even human cells and culture to study how the virus worked. They may have done some alterations, which any lab would do, as far as you want to alter the gene to see if you can make it more virulent, less virulent, to see how it works. And I could be wrong, but at some point, somebody screwed up royally. Whether it was an accidental needle prick or something spilled and it got into I don't know, it got into some soft tissue, like corner of the eye or something. Somebody ended up getting accidentally infected, and either they did not report it, or proper precautions were not taken during degowning, or something went wrong, and they tried to cover it up, and it got out of control. So the whole thing about it got, people got it from buying exotic animal in the food market, I don't buy it. I think they were studying it, which any lab would do. You want to study disease, but something went wrong. They didn't handle it properly. They lost containment, and by the time they finally fessed up to it, it was too late. I could be wrong, but that's what I suspect happened.
Lady Nicole, your take on it?
Yeah, I happen to agree with Don here because I agree with everything he's saying. The only thing I have issues with is not with you personally, but the trying to determine what the X factor was that makes this so virulent and sustainable, because you have to have a packaging cell that does exactly what its name says. It packages the virus and allows it to amplify. And so amplification of that virus in those cells is not the important thing. Is the genetic sequence of the virus itself. Because you have expression vectors, then you have those that are for infection. Like they're for like the ones that you're like for tracking, for instance. So you have vectors or plasmids that you're only going to use to express something. And I was hoping they would give the genes or something that showed why they were studying this. It would make more sense to me. Tracking is not here. It's not with this virus because it's everywhere. It's bloodborne and it's respiratory. So the tracking part of it is not as evident for me because it's not going to a specific organ. It's very random based on the studies where they recapitulated the virus SARS-2 in mice. I have a stream on that. And clearly in the tissues. It's everywhere. Every organ that affected the human, the patients, affected those mice that have. This is a synthetically created virus that is supposed to be comparable to what a patient would have as far as infection. So I think that those are, I still have questions about like which genes or which gene families did they use um, to splice in to this particular virus backbone. That I don't know. But everything else that Don has said, I absolutely agree. I do think it was an accident. Somebody really screwed up. And unfortunately, the person who probably did screw up is no longer here to tell the story. So,
Hmm.
I
So
think they already hid the data, though. I mean, let's be honest. All the time it took before they even admitted to it. I mean, think about it. In
mhm,
China, on their, they have that, because they censor all social media. They have to use that WeChat app. And when doctors were talking among themselves, just saying, "Hey, we got something that looks like SARS out there. Be on the lookout." Those doctors got arrested, and then they went on a cover up spree before they even spoke to the rest of the world. So the original data as to
yeah,
what they were doing has probably been scrubbed.
yeah,
hmm.
which goes against the
Allegedly, I'm gonna
ethics
say allegedly,
standard.
so the
But I
authorities, the
can't
men in black,
find.
don't come get me.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I'm looking out my windows, so no, I'm just kidding. I I think that, I mean, that goes against standards and ethics, of course, but we were dealing with, which is very disappointing because you're dealing with a very high biosafety level laboratory, like BSL-4, and so it, scrubbing everything away. I'm just hoping that it really is gone, and so that in the future it wouldn't be recreated or rehashed in some other way, with another virus or something. That's what I hope, that they really did, destroy everything.
Hmm.
It would be hard to
So,
track things backwards, but still, for the sake of the public health, I hope it's gone.
well, we don't really know what we should believe at this point as far as how it started and whether or not it's a conspiracy or not. But what are the things we should not believe? Should we believe it was dropped by planes? Should we be believing that?
Mm, I mean, you could
No.
use you could use a delivery system, airborne delivery system if you want to do a weapon. But again, that's if you want to engage in biological warfare. But as far as how that particular outbreak happened, that's definitely more an accident. You
Hmm.
know, that was definitely a screw up. I don't even think it was an intentional release. Okay, if you want to compare this COVID epidemic to that Ebola epidemic in what, 2014? That was it. Nicole, is that when it was? 2014 Ebola.
I think it was around 2014, 2015, something
Okay.
like that. Yeah.
Now, I used to live in Zaire, the country where the virus originally came from. Okay, the Ebola virus is named after the Ebola River in Zaire. That's why the virus called Ebola Zaire. That is a few thousands of miles east of Liberia. So when that last Ebola outbreak happened, it was way far from the natural reservoir of that virus. First of all, second of all, they were talking about an incubation period of 21 days. When I lived in Africa, when there was those last outbreaks of Ebola, that thing, it was 72 to maybe 96 hours from the time you were infected to the time you were dead. So to me, that reeked of probably a field test gone wrong or something that was manipulated, weaponized. Because a disease that kills you within 3 days, that's too strong. It burns out too fast to be used effectively as a weapon. But this COVID-19, the way that happened, to me, that seems more like an accidental release and total failure to contain it, as opposed to a deliberate use of it as a weapon. I think they were studying it and they got in over their heads and they couldn't clean up the mess. And remember, news reports say that when the U.S. State Department had individuals visit the site, they raised a bunch of red flags about safety safety protocols they felt were not being followed properly. So I honestly think with the COVID, it was the world's biggest screw up versus the Ebola in 2014. Now that I really smell a rat in that one. But again, allegedly. And Nicole, look out the window. Make sure the black van has moved away because they're watching.
Yeah, it's gone. It's gone.
Okay.
So we're
You're
not
right,
getting it.
Renee. Now,
We're not getting it from 5G though, are we? Because I've heard that too. Oh
Uh,
man, it's the 5G.
no,
5G's doing it.
uh,
no,
Should we be believing that?
no.
if 5G is gonna do anything to us, okay. Now I'm not a physicist. I don't know anything about radiation.
Mm,
I don't work with them, but I would assume if 5G, just like 4G, any wireless communication, if it was going to do anything to us, it would be you'd see signs of radiation poisoning.
yeah,
The COVID-19, what we're seeing is okay. It's not a respiratory disease. It definitely affects the blood system. It's not just it's not like a glorified flu. There's something else going on with that. And I wish Dr. Dunbar was here. He could talk a little more about that. But no. Now you could say if you wanna reach, you could say that exposure to 5G might have an effect on your immune system and make you more prone to catch stuff. But then you'd probably be prone to catch just about anything when your immune
right.
system is down.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Yeah, I
It's
heard
not
about
considered.
that point. Mhm.
No, well, I've been making that point that if 5G has something to do with it, it would be that it wouldn't be 5G radiation causing you to have those
Mm,
symptoms. That makes no sense. But again, people don't read, and there are a lot of mere mortals who do not know science. It's not their
yeah,
fault. Forgive them for they know not what they do.
yeah. I've worked with ionizing radiation, and I've worked with alpha, beta, gamma forms of. I haven't done delta, but different forms of radiation. I don't even think our facility can handle higher than gamma. Gamma is the main one I use. I prefer uh, uh, like a gamma ray of radiation. So the standard we
Oh,
use for cells or mice is 4 gamma rays. The longest time I've ever treated a cell, like a plate of cells, a petri dish of cancer cells with radiation to basically make them angry and then hit them with a metabolism inhibitor was 6 hours. And then there's a
damn.
cool down period. And yeah, because these are fibroblasts that are very aggressive. These are the fibroblasts in the prostate that influence the epithelial cells to be more, be bigger tumors, be worse tumors, right? So we
I've
hit
dealt
them
with
hard.
fibroblasts, but I've never irradiated them, man.
Yeah.
Sheesh,
So
sheesh.
we irradiate them and then with or without mutation, right, irradiate them and then hit them, after the 6 hours, hit them with a metabolism inhibitor specific to certain amino acids, and then like 48 hours later, you see what's left. Like there are many
So wait,
cells left.
so you irradiate them for 6 hours, or you irradiate them and then check after 6 hours to see what was the result?
We irradiate them for 6 hours. 4 gray is not that much
Oh,
radiation,
okay.
or it depends
So
on the type of radiation, the body you're using. You irradiate them for that long. Some people do 2 hours, some people do 4 hours. Because the
yeah,
cells are so aggressive, you have to go higher.
but even with gamma radiation, here's the thing: if you were talking about 5G radiation, those
It's
frequencies are more
non-ionizing.
like in the microwave. Yeah, it's more microwave radiation. It's not gamma rays is like totally the other end of the spectrum. I mean that's the kind of stuff that turns Bruce Banner into the Hulk.
Right, right.
So again, even if you were to irradiate someone continuously with 5G radiation, that way, you might cook.
Just a different
As
type of
far as
radiation.
yeah,
I 5G is non-ionizing. It does not have an effect on your body the way ionizing radiation does. We have to break the DNA in order to, like you said, with Bruce Banner, with David Banner and everything like that, or Bruce Banner, I forget the name, but the Hulk guy,
Bruce
the green
Banner.
guy, Bruce Banner. So this guy,
Uh,
he has broken DNA. We have to cause DNA damage of the cells first. And this beam is so specific. It's very, very specific. You have to hit them for a long time. With the mice, you have to, I think we do max as an hour or something, and this is optimized. I can't go longer, like we're not really supposed to go longer than like 2 hours. I just push it because I don't have time for them to recover. I don't want them to recover. That's the problem. Because if they recover, it's the same thing with the patient. Once they recover, they get worse. They get angry, they get worse, the tumor gets big, and the patient dies. So if I start out with 10 million cells and I end up with like 100 cells left, that's good.
Sheesh.
That's good. And then I let them grow, like I said, for 48 hours. And then I get another, after 48 hours, maybe I have 5 million, they grow back and they're being hit with this metabolism inhibitor. But for my cells, and these are cells from a patient. This is a patient that's been dead for years, and they were late stage, like stage 4 cancer, metastasis. These cells are not like, little runts. They're very strong.
Yeah.
And if I hit
I've,
them with 5G, it would do nothing. It's non-ionizing. They would just keep growing like whatever. So that's my point. Like
yeah.
with 5G, people talking about 5G, it is not necessarily a like a pulse that's gonna induce induce a virus or make an infection worse. That doesn't make any sense at all. If
Yeah.
people are still saying that, I wish
Yeah.
they would stop.
The most I've done with fibroblasts, that was with keloids from human patients. I never done with the cancer fibroblast, but damn, yeah. I mean, the whole 5G angle thing. No, no, it has nothing to do with the coronavirus. Now, if you want to tell me that they want to use the whole pandemic, everybody being stuck at home as a good time to go put up more towers, then yeah, I mean,
Yeah, of
that would make sense.
course.
But
I
again, that could be a correlation between people being stuck at home, limited movement, and the powers that be putting more 5G towers and less people out there to protest that because they're too busy doing other stuff. But as far as 5G having any causal relation with the coronavirus, nah. But again, I'm not a virologist. Actually, my young apprentice here, she knows more about that than I do.
I don't know. Actually,
I do deal
your
with cancer. I know flow cytona.
Dr. Dunbar knows
On
a
a
lot more. I know
trial.
more about the radiation. Oh, my bad. The radiation that we use, like the pulsing of ionizing radiation, different PPE we have to wear, and all that stuff. And we do a lot of pulsing. Right now, we really can't do too much with radiation. They've kind of shut down that part because you have to have a team of people to go with you, and it's not like you know it's just not as safe with myself because there's a lot of heavy equipment, like hundreds of pounds of equipment you have to lift and do all this stuff. So to protect you, and you have to wear a lot of PPE to go in there before you can go in there. It's that, Dawn, if you've seen those doors where two people have a key, they put it in and turn it at the same time.
Yeah,
If you remember that on some of the movies and shows back in the day, like when they would have what is it, the red key, the nuclear key or something. They put that in the door and it count to three and then turn it. That's the system that we use. So I can't do it on my own because my arms aren't, I can't reach 7 feet
yeah.
across. Right?
Then
They
I
make
use
it
the
that
launch
way on
code.
purpose. Launch code,
Well,
And
right?
I
if
want to.
Nick Taylor, if Nick Taylor's in the chamber, the launch code is whiskey Tango Foxtrot 6 or 9er, and then you turn the key, and then you hit the button. If you're
Then you
listening,
do
Well,
the iris scan.
I wanna ask a ridiculous scientific question. I've always wanted to ask a scientist this, but I never got the chance. So I'm going to do it now. Speaking of gamma radiation, is that possible that it can actually turn someone into, like the guy behind us here, behind the screen? Is that really possible? Like, can a person get gamma radiation in them and now they're this big green monster? I know that's ridiculous, but I figured I'd ask anyway.
No, you just
Poss-
died a very painful death.
yeah. Not only, okay. Is it anything is possible? Is it probable? Hell no.
Okay.
I mean,
But there is something you could
causing a mutation. I mean, you kind of anything that causes a mutation, like ionizing radiation or any kind of chemical agent that alters DNA, it is going to result in some mutation. Is it going to mutation that going to make your muscles bigger and stuff? It could happen, but the odds are very infinitesimal.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let's go here. I know you scientist folks. You guys are very, very intelligent, highly intelligent, more intelligent than the rest of us Negroes.
That's what we make you think. That's what we have you believe.
So, what do you guys think about what's going on right now? With the protest, about the police brutality and the marches and everything that's going on. Like, what's your take on this stuff, man? How do y'all deal with these I guess you can call them social justice situations, social justice crises, if you will? I mean, what do you guys take on these things, man? Or do you just kind of watch them like, whatever? Like, what's your take on them as Black folks?
I'll let Nicole go first on that one.
My take on a lot of the social issues that are going on. Um, oh well, I wonder sometimes like what took people so long to, respond to some of the things that are happening. If you're being treated wrong, you have a government that is there to protect you and manage what's going on, and they're not doing clearly a good job. Speaking specifically more to COVID, I feel like we are going back to work too early, and that has contributed to people not being at work. I understand that. I do think we need another stimulus, but that's just me. Another stimulus check, um, because I think about long term with the riots and protesting, and I understand that. But why they're doing it? People are broke. They don't have money to feed their families. I understand. You add on police shootings of Black people unarmed and everything that who are innocent, not posing a threat. That adds to the problem. So, in my opinion, no. If they're gonna come, they're gonna come with the bans and all that. Um, the government they have failed, and it's showing. It's becoming more apparent right now. And as far as with COVID, it's a trade off. Do you want to keep people going to work and getting sicker and sicker, um, where they're not just dying, but they have long term health problems that it could be permanent, where they're permanently hospitalized? Or, do you give people the help they need in the meantime and start shifting to a new normal where, um, you have more people working from home, for instance? If that's a possibility. So it's the trade off for me. It's kind of a sticky subject, but that's my thoughts on it.
Brother Don C.
Well, okay. As far as what come with the whole protest thing, I understand. It's perfectly understandable. People are pissed off when it comes to innocent Black people getting gunned down by the police brutality. What I find kind of hypocritical is that I'm not sure if that much energy would be put out for individuals who are actually squeaky clean. That you know how anytime a Black person gets killed, they try to look anything in their background, anything to just say, oh well, they were not a good person anyways. But if it's somewhat squeaky clean, it probably gets buried under the rug, first of all. So there's that. The whole BLM thing. I mean, the phrase I understand, but the actual organization, what it stands for, is antithetical to what they claim. They claim they're about protesting the killing of innocent black men and stuff. But you check the organization, they don't give a damn about black men. But that's a whole other conversation. Now, as far as what Nicole was saying with the whole COVID response, I'm gonna steal a line from BGS Immore.
Hold up a second. I think
The
the doc
nation's
is here.
Kobayashi Maru
Hold up.
test.
Hold up. I think the doc just slipped in. What's good with it,
Dr.
doc?
Dunbar?
Not much. Not much. What's going on? Let me put my Abby on. Hold on.
Hey, Dr. Dunbar.
Uh-oh, we got a full
How you
clip,
doing?
boy.
What's on, everybody?
Class is in
Hey, how
session
are you?
tonight, boy. Go ahead, finish.
see
Go
that?
ahead, finish up, brother
Two black
Don
male
C.
scientists with the big gray beard. That's right.
No, right?
Go ahead,
Okay.
finish up, brother Don. Then I want to get to the doc. Go ahead.
All right, here's the thing. BGS said that was basically the Kobayashi Maru. Anybody who's into old school Star Trek, the Kobayashi Maru test was a test of your command abilities, where there's a ship that sends a distress call. If you rescue it, you have to cross the neutral zone. You get jumped by 3 Klingon cruisers. Your ass is toast. If you don't, they die. So it's a lose-lose. And this is what this whole COVID thing was. And it honestly, it wouldn't matter if Hillary had been president or Donald, or even if Sloppy Joe was president. It would not matter. It was a shitty salad, no matter which way you toss it. Now, as far as what Nicole was saying, with she thinks people are getting back to work too early. Mixed feelings about that. I think honestly, doing that whole lockdown, locking everybody down, I think that was a mistake. I think the proper response would have been to make sure the elderly, get quarantined because they risk, as well as anybody who's identified. And then for everyone, have mandated from the start the use of masks when out, especially in closed environments like stores and stuff. Because in places where they mandated that, it seems like it has helped to mitigate the spread. Now, a surgical mask is protect you from the, but if you are sick and you're coughing and stuff, it does prevent you from spreading it. I mean, I think a lot of people need to brush up like hygiene as far as washing, because we got a lot of nasty ass people out there. But no, seriously,
Is that what
in
it
my
is?
20 in my 20 in this country, you would think that in world country, the country that's the leader of the free world, people would know to wash their fucking hands when they come out of the bathroom after taking a shit or taking a piss, but they don't. Honestly, I find that disgusting. I find more people in world countries where there is no running water more sense for basic hygiene when soap and water is available. That is a huge in the developed world. Honestly, this whole thing of people not washing their hands after this goes a long way to spread diseases like viruses and Dr. Dunbar and Nicole will back me up on that. Now, as far as lockdown, honestly think they should have mandated wearing of masks out in public. With all those people going out there protesting, honestly, I think this probably made the virus spread a lot more, because I'm sure when people were out there protesting, they were social distancing. I seriously doubt people out there protesting, whether it was for their gun or to reopen or to protest the brutality. I doubt they were all, practicing proper use of PPE and stuff. So, but that's my take on it.
I have something I wanted to say real quick, because
Go
I
ahead.
feel like after all the streams that VGS has done, VGS Evermore has done, shout out to Master Teacher, that I have done, that Peak Prosperity has done, all these streams, I still have people, and I'm not coming down on you, Deborah. I'm really not. But you yelling at me, honey, in the chat room. She said, get everyone but the elderly back out, open up the country, There's no such thing as stopping a virus. Okay, let me address that. If I'm 20 years old and my grandmother is 60 years old, okay, and I need to 65, whatever, she's an older woman, and I'm 20 or I'm 18 and I'm a carrier with no symptoms. I go to work because it's everything's open up, right? I go to work, I come back home, I'm infected. I don't know I'm infected. I have no symptoms, so I'm not getting a test. I bring it home to my grandmother. When it comes to contact tracing, they test you, you're positive. She has it, she dies a week later. And that you have to think about it psychologically, what effect that has on you. If you had kept yourself at home when people told you to stay at home, and then that, and see, maybe your grandmother could have had a chance, but maybe you also could have had a chance too. Because if you're 18, 19, 20 years old, and I'm not talking about you're taking care of your grandmother, but you're visiting her enough, you're in close space with her enough in her house. And let's be real, people are not wearing masks at home. They're not doing it. I don't have one on right now. I'm at home. Okay. So you put yourself at risk too. Let's say your grandmother passes away from COVID. Just because you don't have symptoms at this time does not mean you can't develop symptoms when you are reinfected or as your symptoms, as your disease infection gets worse, like death in the family that causes psychological and emotional strain on you, lowering your immune system. Okay. So I just want people to think about that. A lot of younger people are asymptomatic. They're in school right now in the state I'm from, South Carolina. They're in school. And my little cousin, she's 5. She my cousin's child. She's going to kindergarten with a mask on. But even if I God forbid, but if she was infected, she more than likely would be asymptomatic. And so it's a scary situation for me. And maybe it's like the female side, side of me that's like, I want to protect everybody. But, I just feel like that it's more understanding that needs to be, had on both sides of the argument, I think. My bad. I just had to
Yeah.
say that.
Well, let me swing it over to the good doc. What's good with it, Dr. Dunbar?
Hey, Brother Xavier. Hey, first of all, I heard you over on Bernard's show a couple weeks ago. I'm a fan of your work, and you said some you said some very moving things there. I'm pretty big on the whole manhood thing.
Okay,
and
I'm flattered. Good doctor.
Yeah,
I'm flattered.
Yeah, I was really digging what you said. But piggybacking off what Nicole said, the thing that has stood out to me, or one of the things that stood out to me, is all of the misinformation and the fact that there are so many people divided on whether or not the thing is real, and just how big the threat is. I have some buddies, like I think Nicole just said, Deborah. I guess there's a woman named Deborah in the chat who wanted everything back open immediately. And it's like, don't you guys know that there's a virus out there that we know nothing about, and people are dropping dead, but not everyone believes that the threat is real. So once you so it's like the 5G you guys were just talking about. Once people's minds are made up on something, it's hard to change them.
So let me ask all of you.
Hey, hold on, X. Can I address something quickly? There was a question.
Go ahead.
My brother Charles Merchant, he's cool. He asked a question about how you can have a virus and show no symptoms. One of the things about the immune system, some people may not show symptoms if your innate immune system is strong enough, because the immune system there's two sides to it. There's the innate immune system and adaptive immunity. Your innate immune system is you have cells that walk around your body. When they see an entity like a virus or a bacteria, they may start attacking it. If your innate system is strong enough, you can clear it and not even have symptoms. You can have the virus, you're fighting it, and you don't have like a fever, all the symptoms, because your body is on top of it. Now, sometimes when the virus is powerful enough that your innate system is not enough, then your adaptive immune system kicks in. When you get what's called the cytokine storms, where you start secreting antibodies, you get a fever because when your body temperature increases, it makes your immune system work better, but like crack and all that. So it is possible, depending on your state of health, you could have disease, your body it, and eventually you never get symptoms. It happens, and also all had mentioned about reinfection with young people. It has been shown some people catch the COVID, fight it, get treated, beat it, and then catch it again. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to have immunity for it, because in the meantime, the virus mutates. And it could be that even if you had it the first time, the second time around, you may not have recovered fully enough that your inactive immune system is strong enough to fight it. But I'll for now and go ahead, bro.
Well, let me ask you, good folks, are you political when you're a scientist or you're into medicine? I mean, does it make you non-political? I mean, do you kind of kind of disregard politics to a certain degree? I mean, all of us have to deal with the kind of quote unquote social politics, but politics in general, does it make you kind of neutral in politics, being that you all are scientists, you all are STEM folks?
Hey guys, can I go first?
Go ahead.
Hey,
Go ahead, man.
Well, yeah, Brother Xavier, I think you want to, as a scientist, you want to be as objective as possible. And in this case, you're dealing with saving lives. So you really don't want to politicize that. And so I just uploaded a video on my channel about an in vitro study on hydroxychloroquine. Now, that was very politicized because the president came out and said that it works and it's a good way to treat this thing. And it seems like, God, I'm looking out the window for the black man now. It seems like there was an effort to not show efficacy for that drug. And it seems someone, I think it was from one of Bernard's panels, named Sir Tice. He was able to send me footage of that set of doctors. There was an African doctor who said, yeah, this combined with zinc, it actually works in basically treating the virus. And so there's misinformation. For a while, it wasn't clear whether or not the drug worked. But it seems like there's been an effort to show that it didn't. And I don't know, maybe that's in large part because the president said it did work. I don't know. But as scientists, I think we want to stay as objective as possible.
Yeah, I agree. Absolutely. I had a mentor years ago that said once you get here, your car, you leave a lot of your little issues and personal problems you may have, whatever. Your political views and views about certain things stays in the car or the parking garage or the parking lot, and you do what you have to do. We are literally, I mean, you're saving lives. Dr. Dunbar is absolutely right. Some scientists may not see it that way. They may work indirectly. Um, and some of us work, directly with patients. You know, um, we see them go through the pain and suffering that they're going through, and it motivates you more to get back in there. Even if you're tired, get your behind back in there and figure this out. You got people that are counting on you that may never meet you. You know, may never see your name on a piece of paper or nothing. So you can't have any kind of political advocacy or leanings when you're doing this job. It's just it would make no sense to do that. We don't know everything. We're trying to figure things out. Science is a process. Um, a lot of the political uh, talk has been saying like, with this thing is in phase 3, where we're going to try to skip to get it FDA approved and move past. the phase 3 trials, and the doctor there was like, no, we need to follow the science. I applauded him for saying that. You have to follow the science because you're thinking long term. Like I said earlier, you have to think about these things long term. Presidents come and go, governors come and go, mayors come and go. This virus doesn't care about any of that. And finding a vaccine treatment, I don't want to use the C word, but vaccine treatment, something that will ameliorate this virus, the infection, and the disease pathology that we're observing is necessary. You have to take the proper precautions, because if you're going to multiply this over and over to different countries with their own regulations, you're going to need to make sure you got all your I's dotted, your T's crossed, everything's right. And that takes time. And science, like I said, if you don't want to put, in my opinion, if you on these vaccine trials and you're a scientist and you don't want to wait until the end, then you need to get off that trial. If you have something better to do, you need to go find something better to do. You don't need to be on there. We kick people off trials and group projects all the time for that same reason. Like, you got a problem with this, you don't need to be on this project no more. And that is another thing that is, it's apolitical, but I can see how people could see it as, as political. So, but yeah, we have to stay objective. Absolutely.
Brother Don C.
Let's say, when Nicole was mentioning about, you making a vaccine, spreading it around the world. Well, there's also the where you dials, what kind of patient population you do. You could do all the scientific stuff, but it's with different populations.
Hold on.
It may not work.
Hold on for 1 second. You do know that your voice is mixing, right? I feel like I'm back in the 1980s on the Techniques 1200s, because it's like, yeah, you know. You do realize that your mic is doing that, right?
Pump it up.
Yeah, man. That's what's going on right now.
I don't know if it's because I plugged the plugger, because my battery is low.
Am I the only one that's hearing that?
No, I hear
I thought that was my phone. Oh my goodness.
What about is it now?
No, it's still doing it.
Really?
I don't have a problem with it. I really don't have a problem with it, but I just want to let you know that it's doing it. I actually think it's kind of cool. So continue.
I had tried to upload a picture while we was talking to change my avatar. I didn't know my audio was going bad. I don't know my
no, it's actually your audio is clear. It's just that it's got you mixing. It's like, I don't know what I don't know what. That's what's happening right now.
I cannot explain, man. I cannot.
But go ahead.
Maybe I should have gone on StreamYard on my laptop instead of my cell phone. But I was gonna say what Nicole was saying about you don't want to rush the process for developing a vaccine or kind of draw any treatment, because we gotta take account. If you take a drug trial and you're only gonna use clinical trial patients here in the States, maybe Canada, the population that it works on, it may not have the same effects when you take Africa, Europe, or Asia. There's then, and like Dr. Dunbar said, with hydroxychloroquine, it was one of those cases, as my buddy Nick Taylor would say, a lot of people will say Orange Man bad. So just the fact that, Agent Orange said hydroxychloroquine might work, we're dead set on trying to prove it wrong, that it doesn't. Now, I don't have anything to substantiate. I heard that when they claimed that hydroxychloroquine don't work, they basically did a rush job where they took patients who were already on ventilators, who were goners. Last resort, they tried it and like, oh, it doesn't work. Instead of doing a real trial to see if it has a prophylactic effect, as it has been touted, where people who either may be showing very first signs of the disease, or as a preventative measure, taking hydroxychloroquine with azithromycin to help prevent infection. And again, you had a lot of people who are attacking this thing as if it's a pulmonary disease when evidence shows that maybe it's actually affects the blood, which is why chloroquine works, because it prevents the virus from getting into red blood cells and destroying hemoglobin the same way it works from preventing plasmodium into getting red cells. So there are too many political agendas. And then just, even though I work in pharma, I have to say, profit motive. What if hydroxychloroquine really work? It makes sense. Some people will try to dismiss it because they want to pump out new drugs out there that can make that millions that they have a patent. Because at this doubt somebody owns an exclusive patent on the hydroxychloroquine. You know. Now,
Doc,
as far as the whole politics thing is, me. Remember, I'm a newly minted citizen, so you know I don't go for the Democrats or Republicans. You know, I although BGS would say I have more authoritarian conservative leanings. I mean, as far as Haitian politics are concerned, I'd definitely be more right wings. But as far as America concerned, I'd rather stay out of it. I'm more interested in doing my job. Go ahead, Dr. Dunbar. You were going to say something.
Don, that's a good point, because in doing my research for that drug, yeah, it's been around for a while. So has chloroquine. So from a shareholder standpoint, yeah, it makes sense to suppress the old drugs so you could get the new product out there.
Yeah, they also started introducing a lot of other drugs that are used to treat flatworms, roundworms, especially in sub-Saharan Africa as well as South America. So ivermectin. Also, the drug that you were talking about once, Dr. Dunbar, D.X.L, is another drug. But with the hydroxychloroquine, I have to admit, yes, it did become very political, and especially because where they want to disprove its effectiveness. And another reason is because you had people who were conducting research on hydroxychloroquine who were using using nepotism really to try to get papers pushed to be published, and that's not right. You know, that's unethical. And then when you have people backtrack and try to repeat your experiments and they can't get very similar results with any kind of significance, that's a problem. You know, so I've been trying to expose those types of cases as well. Not to say that hydroxychloroquine is bad or it's good, because it seems like it depends on, like Don was saying earlier, the stage of your infection. And
It's a prophylactic as far as that's concerned.
Yeah,
That's what it's not like when somebody is just dying and let's do as a last ditch. Hydroxychloroquine not gonna work as a Hail Mary for COVID. It's
right.
if somebody had the just the beginning symptoms where you suspect it. That's what I mean. I've listened to some doctors, like on those conservative talk radio, doctors who were touting it. They said that what they did is patients who were showing signs could even take a test where they suspected this is the regimen they gave it, and that's something totally different than somebody who's on a ventilator, which the ventilator is not going to do anything. When red blood cells can't even carry oxygen, the ventilator put pressure on your lungs and not do shit. But you know.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that reduces the effectiveness of the drug significantly, right?
Well, assuming the data in that paper I presented was right, as you pointed out, Nicole, there's sometimes just fraudulent data. That data did show that it does decrease the multiplicity of infection in a dose-responsive manner, and it alters the co-localization and traffic pattern of the virus in those cell lines. So I don't know why there was so much ambiguity in the press about that. Now you also
elementary, my dear Watson, orange man bad.
Yeah,
if someone had said it, if it had,
I'm a farm.
If Slick Willie had said it, it would not be an issue. If Hillary had said it, it would not be an issue. If Sloppy Joe had, it would not be an issue. But man said.
It reminded me of Animal Farm when I was listening to this stuff, because you know the If you're familiar with the Animal Farm book, if they were saying the ducks, I think it was the ducks and geese, they're so silly. In the book, they were running around saying four legs good, two legs bad, four legs good. And I'm like, wait, you have two legs. Because they were, it was they were going against of course this is a political satire book, but they're going against the humans with two legs. And I just, when I was hearing about the Trump, orange, Agent Orange bad, everybody else good, Agent Orange bad. So that really made me feel like, okay, let's look at what this drug is doing. And you're right, absolutely right, Dr. Dunbar. They used immunofluorescence. I think it was GFP
Hmm.
in the paper you presented to show that yes, I saw it was significantly reduced and with the treatment over time, and it is dose dependent, which is important because you are dealing with a very like a time crunch with these patients. So it needs to be dose dependent. But yeah, I agree with the data that I saw. I looked at their supplement, like their references and some of their their colleagues, their work. Yeah, it looks pretty legit to me.
Yeah.
Can we address something quick? Back to the chloroquine. I remember Dr. Dunbar. There was a whole deal in your comment section about because of black people have a mutation for what's it, 6-phosphate hydrogenase
Yeah.
gene thing.
Yeah.
Is that mutant? Does that make you susceptible to catching anemia when you take hydroxychloroquine or chloroquine? Because there is a reason why they're called differently, because there is a slight molecular difference. It's a hydrochloroquine that's toxic. And trust me, I've had to take chloroquine Zaire. That shit is bitter as fuck. Very
Yeah.
very nasty. As a prophylactic for malaria, I can still taste the bitterness in my mouth just talking about it.
Oh my.
But
Yeah.
Well, let me ask
it,
you, scientists, this. What's your take on remdesivir? I'm probably pronouncing that wrong as hell, but what's your take on that? Do you think that what's your take on the effectiveness of it, I should say?
Well, it's
I don't know anything about the drug. I just know the name. It sounds. I'll leave it to Dr. Nicole to answer that.
Go
well,
ahead,
it's
Dr. Dunbar.
an antiviral.
Mm.
Gilead owns that right now, and it's given by IV, and it has some efficacy in terms of inhibiting viral replication.
Mm.
So, um, and so if you have populations who can't take other medications like hydroxychloroquine, there's a subpopulation who can't take that, then um, that's an alternative that they're banking on. I have to do some more digging in terms of to see what they're seeing in terms of clinical trials. I don't think they have a lot of hard data yet, but they're banking hard on that one. It's an antiviral.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm
Um,
pretty sure there's a trial, not a trial. There are probably several trials on remdesivir because it's already shown effectiveness not for COVID, but previously. And if they're able to use something that's more experimental, such as mRNA based vaccine, then yeah, remdesivir is probably a good go-to for them for like a certain population of patients. So yeah, I agree with what you're saying with that. I haven't been keeping up with a lot of. There's so many drugs out there now. It's hard.
Clarify something. When you say an mRNA vaccine, are we talking about introducing mRNA translate of the patients into protein? When you say mRNA, you're talking about
Mhm.
uh, a nucleotide that will bind to whatever RNA that's expressed from the virus to prevent it from being translated.
That's my understanding when I read through the author's work on previous mRNA type of like liposomal vectors and things they want to use. I've looked at that, and then anytime you go on clinicaltrials.gov, if you just search for the word investigator, it's all the way at the bottom. It's all the way at the bottom of the page. You just put their name in and like Google them and like try to find their work. So yeah, that's the idea. And they have I think they have like at least 5 groups of people, varying age, and they're giving them either placebo or this vaccine at different concentrations. So they have like low, medium, high. So like maybe 10 microgram, 50 microgram, 100 microgram,
So
and
like
they
a
have it
like an
scheduled.
mRNA knockout.
I think not. I think it's more of a mimetic type of um, uh, mechanism that they're trying to do, not knockout. Because if that's not right. Well, uh, it's not. I don't think that's something you want to do with the person who's infected, knocking stuff. Try to knock things out. But a
I don't
mimetic
mean knock out the gene. I mean knock out the mRNA where you
that would
put
be
an
knock it
antisense
out.
oligo. Yeah.
That would yeah.
Okay.
So if you have the complement, then and it's somehow not knocked out, but it's somehow mutated, whether missense or something like that, then you kind of mute. A mimetic is something that's like going to bind and mute that whatever it's binding to. You see what I mean? So
I
then
had a,
it
I had a friend who was doing something like that with zebrafish development using a morpholino backbone so it could be stable.
right.
That's what I was.
I'm thinking that they have several of these because it has a number after it. I think it was 1273.
Hmm.
That's uh
Hmm.
that's a high number, and I'm pretty sure they have many, many more that they've used for other things. It's just maybe this one had the highest efficacy at a certain concentration, and they're going to use that. But a mimetic is something that just mimics something else, um, and so that electrostatic attraction would bring it to the viral mirror image of it. But this one that you're putting in is not exactly the exact reverse. It's not completely the same, like identical. There's a little there's a little twist at the end, and then voila, your viral infection should go down. That's the idea, and they've modeled it in
Until the
mice
virus mutates.
until it mutates. So that's the other thing, and that's why I think they have so many of the mRNAs, like the 1273. They might have 1281, 1262. So these may be useful for different mutations. That's why they need to know what mutation you have. I would think before giving it. So
See,
those
this
details
is
are not
why
in
it's
the
important.
trial, but yeah, it's important to know it though.
This is why it's important to overlook like traditional folk medicine. Because okay, let's look for example, my homie. I spoke with my parents. They said that according to official government statistics, we have seen way less death of COVID than we would have expected. Like across the board in the Dominican Republic, like they're getting massacred with that. But one of the things is when this thing hit Haiti, we don't have the infrastructure to do the treatment like you could do in the US or even other Caribbean island. People have been resorting back to traditional medicine like, ginger tea, turmeric, moringa, like
Hmm.
all those things. And my mom said, like, when she goes to work, everybody, as soon as they get to work, first thing, ginger tea with turmeric, and the death rate has been way less for COVID than it should have been, considering that you have major sanitation problem and infrastructure problem in Haiti. So,
Yeah.
go whole political question, who profits? I'm pretty sure there's a lot of effort press other traditional natural remedies that not so much cure the disease, but could fortify people's innate immune system. Body can fight it without having to resort to drugs. It's less money. It's less money.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Well,
Mm.
let me
Especially
let
the
me
ones you mentioned. Yeah, definitely.
let me ask this. Because there's black folks, especially up here on these YouTube streets. You always hear people talk about, black folks. We different. We built different. All that kind of stuff. Do do we require as black people? Is there something about us different biologically where we would yeah, I know it sounds, you know what I'm about to say, right? Do we require different kind of medicines? Do we require different types of treatment? Is there a different protocol treating Black folks as opposed to treating everybody else?
Well, brother Xavier, I
I've
think
never heard of any such thing.
there is a subfield of pharmacology. I have a background in pharmacology called pharmacogenomics slash pharmacogenetics, and so certain subpopulations do express certain genes differently. And me and Don were talking about G6PD, glucose 6-phosphate dehydrogenase. So that's another piece of this hydroxychloroquine story that came out. So you do have I think genetic polymorphisms is the right word, the right term for that. So there are subtle genetic differences between ethnic groups and races.
Yes, he's right.
That impacts our ability to tolerate and handle certain medications.
You're right. I mean, even the studies that show that with the pharmacogenomics and proteomics side of it, after getting certain drugs with some patients, they notice a drift with based on ethnicity. Well, actually, it's just white versus non-white, but then they break it down into ethnicities from there based on self-reporting of the patient. But they notice like proteomics and genomics, they shift and change after treatment. So yes, there are epigenetic changes, but it depends on how the drug is designed. And Dr. Dunbar knows this because if certain drugs are designed to alleviate methylation or induce methylation of which is the carbon, hydrogen, three hydrogens, the carbon, you have the methylation, methyl group that's there. And you need that carboxyl, group with this methylation to get it to work. And some groups have more methylation of genes than others. Methylation is just a nice word to say that gene is locked into an inactive state or locked into an active state. And certain drugs can reverse that. If you have a gene that's inactive, there's drugs that can make the gene activate. And perhaps activating that gene, reduces your cancer load, for instance. So, but there
Oh, and
are single nucleotide polymorphisms or aberrations. They call them SNPs in certain groups of patients, and they see those SNPs change. Even the SNPs change as well, can change with treatment as well. Were you about to say something?
I was gonna say one thing as far as what Nicole was with the drugs like those that can induce methylation or remove methylation. That's when we're not talking.
What happened? Did we lose Brother Don C?
Oh, they got him.
Yeah, I think we lost him. Well, while Brother Don C is getting his microphone together, let me ask the good doctor and you, Lady Nicole, when or if they come up with a vaccine, is there, and this piggybacks off of what I asked you before, is it a chance that they have to come up with a different type of vaccine to treat us and everyone else, and not just a vaccine or quote unquote cure for COVID, if you will, but I mean with anything, like when you're in there in your laboratory, are you making special concessions when you're running your trials and your tests and things of that nature? You can answer this too, Doc. Are there special concessions being made? Well, this would work for Black folks, this will work for white folks, this will work for Latino folks, etc. Is that going on in laboratories and in places where they're studying medicines and coming up with cures and vaccines and whatnot?
Dr. Dunbar?
Well, I would, from a pharmacology standpoint, it, and I'm not an immunologist, but what I know about vaccines is you're basically priming the immune system
Mm-hmm.
to know how to respond to a particular foreign invader. So you're not creating a molecule per se. So I think that would be the approach to that would not be ethnic group specific.
Yeah, it's very difficult to have that be ethnic specific or um, like even people have even questioned, nationalities specific because we have different um, foods and different environments from country to country, for instance. So you can't even do it that way. We look at the rate of infection, and they're like, okay, it's. I don't think it's possible to do that. But I will say that if you are interested, if it's possible that they could try, is to look at clinicaltrials.gov, and you can contact the investigators and ask them if they wouldn't mind sending you a PDF. Of course, they're not going to send you patient names, but of a breakdown of information with ethnicities listed like in a graph form. They have that information. You ask them to send you that information, especially if it says that they are currently recruiting. If you couldn't call them or email them, they wouldn't put the email address on a federal website and their phone numbers on federal website. You know, Granted, some of these numbers are international, but it's their email is still there. And so I would do that. Ask them what is the ethnic breakdown or the racial breakdown of your patients percentage wise. Is this a gender specific study? Is this all women or all men? And which groups have women and men? What's the proportion of men and women in the placebo versus the treatment group? Just ask them, because this study is done for you as a citizen, all of us as citizens, and you had a right to know. But I don't think that's something that would be openly talked about. But you kind of have to dig and find and email them around, email them, try to find that out for yourself if you're so interested in that.
Hmm. Now for some fun questions. what
Mm.
what do you three scientific minds think of marijuana as a treatment for things? What what's your take on that? Is that good for us? I guess it depends on what's wrong with you. Whatever condition you're suffering
Mhm.
from. What's your take on as marijuana as treatment for things?
Mm.
Hear
You
me,
know,
yard boy, man. Said the ganja tea is good for your health, man. You can use the ganja as a spice for your cooking. Lord of mercy. Please don't be of your fake and patois, man.
I
yeah,
know,
brother.
y'all are professional. I know y'all are professionals, but you can give me a professional answer, if you want to.
Yeah, it has helped. There have been studies to show that it has helped when coupled with um, proper diet. That which would come with certain strains of cannabis. But we have cannabinoid receptors in our brain, so there have been. I know I keep leaning towards cancer. That's my field, but there are cannabinoid receptors in the brain that will process cannabis, will process that chemical, and it is helpful. It's been shown to be helpful for patients. They have to do a lot of preliminary testing before they can just give it to you, but yeah, I think that it does have some effectiveness, especially when it comes to the side effects of chemotherapy that patients get, and they lose their appetite, and you need to have something in your body when after chemo and during those regimens, so it stimulates the appetite of a lot of the patients, and it helps. So just given in small amounts based on people I've talked to who were studying it in Atlanta. Yeah, they were saying it depends on the dosing and everything like that and the time and to prevent addiction, to it. But yeah, go for it. If that's what the doctors are saying to you and you've done, gotten a second, third, fourth opinion, I mean, you're gonna do it anyway. You're gonna get it, you're gonna go home and you're gonna spark it up anyway. But there's so many options now. I would say, do it with caution, with supervision. But yeah.
Before Dr. Dunbar gives his response, I gotta say this one thing. You mentioned as far as giving the THC in because of people being under chemotherapy. This is why if you get treatment with biologics that stimulate the immune system to fight the cancer as opposed to giving chemotherapy, you have a lot less of those side effects that would make you lose your appetite and require you to take the cannabis. I'm just saying.
Mm.
Hey,
Yeah.
I'm an immuno-oncologist, and in my field, we analyze blood samples from clinical trials for drugs that are used to stimulate the immune system to fight cancer instead of full of drugs that will kill healthy cells. But that's a whole other conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So in terms of medical marijuana, I have to be honest, I don't have a lot of experience with it, so I'm going to defer to what Nicole said.
Okay.
Wait, hold on, Don. You got something against chemo? You got something against chemo? Is that what you saying?
If I'm gonna my appetite,
I know.
I'm already. But if I'm gonna lose whatever other hair of the trumpet of Jericho cannot bring down the walls and the staff of Moses part the Red Seas. No, I don't want it. I don't want it.
Yes, I know that, Super Mike. I know there are different
Yeah.
options, and one option we use are antibodies, synthetic antibodies that don't have any side effects except for a slight anemia. So I know that many patients have to get chemo. It's not like on the movies and Breaking Bad where he just getting it early. Some patients are not like that. They get them later because they have gone through different rounds of drugs. So that's part of my job to develop drugs that are not chemo that would actually be given in combination with chemo. Because a patient on chemo for a long time, you can't take them off that chemo. It would be devastating to their system. So trying to mitigate the effects of the chemo that they've been on for a while and give them an alternative at the same time, combination therapy, and with no side effects. So the only side effects you're looking at are the chemo, right? And they usually reduce as well. So that's what I was just joking with you. You don't like chemo? What? You don't like I
So
have doctors that say that, like, what's wrong with chemo? What's wrong with it? I'm like, fool, what? Like, you said what now? Like, we looking like, huh?
No,
Chemo
no.
therapy
Look,
primary function is to, as you said, kill fast dividing cells, right? And that's what it does. So finding those alternatives, yeah, that's one of the primary things
listen,
we do.
Nicole. I came in this world with my church and my staff of Moses. I wanted
Ugh,
to part with it, so I don't want to do chemo because with chemo and stuff, got to get rid of that. I still want to keep my twig and berries. Therefore,
oh
I would
Lord.
rather go the biologics route. Thank you very much.
that's
Yeah,
good. That's
bumper
that's
stop.
a good segue. That's a good segue into my next question. So, what are you good folks take on holistic medicine and that those type of things? What are your take on that? And are these things effective? Are they proven to be effective?
So I think you're talking about kind of more naturopathic.
Mm,
Yes.
And you know what? I'm all for natural remedies. Uh, if you have knowledge of that, or if you have someone who's knowledgeable of that, I'm all for preventative medicine and more natural means. If if you can tailor your lifestyle to doing that, I think that's better than taking more man-made medications, especially if you're at a point where you have to take multiple medications. I don't ever want to be at a point where I have to take multiple medications created by drug companies, because the medications often aren't specific, and then you can end up with different drug-drug interactions, which are dangerous.
Well, I've often heard people say that in medicine, they're not really trying to cure you. They're just treating the symptoms of whatever you have. Is there any truth to that when it comes to medicine?
I'm not a medical doctor, but I was raised by two of them, and I've heard mentioned that. I guess once I'm in medicine, taught the more holistic to actually do investigative medicine, find a root cause. Whereas I've heard my dad come modern day doctors. Seems like it's more about treating just the symptoms. And now I cannot substantiate that, but I've heard it being said around internets that that's a lot of it because the pharma industry kind of how the medical education is made, so that doctors can basically prescribe medications. So there is that. But going back to the question about natural, what we think about natural medicine, naturopathic medicine. A friend of mine who was a professor when I was an undergrad, I can give his name. He's a published PhD, Dr. Wayne Forbes. He was at the University of West Indies in Jamaica. He was doing his master's study. He was looking for a way to find using Jamaican folk medicine to find a more effective drug to treat Strongyloides stercoralis, a worm infection. So what he did is he basically went through all of Jamaican folk medicine, trying to find out what folk remedies people were using. They finally identified something called spirit weed, and they eventually isolated the active ingredient that worked with which was more effective than the drugs they had at the time. And back when I was an undergrad, he had a patent pending. That research when he was just a master's student, it eventually got him his PhD. I think he ended up going I think he went to UPenn to do some more studies, postdoc and stuff. So natural medicine is a gateway to create more, more potent drugs that actually work. So yeah, natural medicine, that's where it all begins. So it's just a question of, when you do the folk medicine, you may want to try to identify what exactly works, how it works. But yeah, natural medicine, it probably is better for you than, taking a bunch of drugs just for individual symptoms. And as Dr. Dunbar said, risking drug interaction.
Well, if you could say one thing about us black folks, what is the main thing that we should be doing more of? I know there's a lot of things as black people, we should be doing more of as far as our health is concerned, but what is the number one thing? And I want all three of you to answer this. What's that one thing that we absolutely should be doing more of or doing less of, if that's the case, in your opinion? Anyone who wants to go first can go.
I think because there are a lot of things that will come out of what I'm about to say, but I think we really need to focus on our mental health. And um, because once you get your mind, your spirit, your mind together, everything else follows. The exercise and the eating right and all that. But if your mind isn't right, you know, I know that a lot of black people may not um see therapy or counseling as an option, but I think it's definitely needed. Someone who is objective, but that's listening to you and giving you feedback and whatnot. Um, hopefully that person is also black and they have, experience in what they're doing. But I would say that. dealing with the mental health piece. We just lost, Chadwick Boseman, rest in power to him, and what he was going through for years with colon cancer. Very painful disease to go through. I could just imagine, what was going through his mind of doing what he was doing, acting on the big screen, playing as T'Challa, James Brown, with Jackie Robinson, playing all these characters, playing this in these movies, right? And he had that all that on his mind, you know. So that's what I would say definitely is helping to find balance, in your life.
The
And
good
that's it.
doctor.
Yeah, just piggybacking off what Nicole just said, yeah, it's astounding that he did all that he did while carrying that condition. I would say, Brother X, seek more knowledge. Um, uh, have a more in the science world. We talk about plasticity, meaning have a more malleable and a flexible mind. Um, and much of what you need to know, whether it's about health or finance or current events, which you have to have a sense of curiosity and you have to be willing to take in new information. And a lot of times I think our people uh, just kind of believe I don't want to get myself in trouble here. We're very susceptible to the media and pop culture and images that are given to us. But I think that we would benefit by seeking our own knowledge and just being more curious, reading more.
Hmm.
It's a
Brother
kryptonite.
Don C.
Well, let me see. And this is when I say black people, I don't mean just mean black in America. I'm talking about the Caribbean and from what I was observed, well, easy on the salt as far as what we can do for our health. Easy on the salt. Drink more water. And if you want some high quality, talk to Nick Taylor, his board Truth Teller, for tell you all about the good water filtration system and all that good stuff. Drink more. At minimum, every try to get at least 16 ounces water first thing, and then if you can try to get to a total of at least 64 ounces. I think that's about a gallon a day. That is good for you. Paul said mental health. That is very important. You know, I think honestly, a lot of people are seriously dehydrated. Like stop drinking alcohol, all the juices that are full of sodium and sugar. Drink water. Easy with the salt with the cooking. That do walking, especially areas. Don't take the elevator. You can't take the stairs. Little things, that it adds.
Well, I just wanna hit y'all with a couple more questions before I let you go. I don't want to keep you
Sure.
here all night. When it comes to seeking professionals, and I guess this is more focused to the good doctor, should we be seeking out black doctors? Is that what's best for us? The specialists we see for whatever condition we may have, or just for, I guess, a primary care physician, if you will. Should we be seeking out black doctors? Is that the best option for us, doc?
Well, I'm going to front this by saying I'm not I have a research background, so I'm not a physician myself, but I do believe that yes, you would be better served with um, a healthcare professional who's familiar with your background and your just what our people deal with. Now, that's not to say you can't go to someone else of another ethnicity, but I think it it would help to see someone who's familiar with our background and our epigenetics and those kinds of things.
All right, Lady Nicole.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. Because they'll be staying abreast of the cutting edge research that's happening. Um, we go to the same conferences and stuff and meetings, and we see each other. And I hear the presentations they give, medical doctors give, and they show their patients and they show the proportions. That's why I can tell you that they should be able to send you something that gives you proportion of different ethnicities and male or female, because they present that data at conferences, of their trials they're doing. These are black physicians, surgeons, some gen pracs or general practitioners. But yeah, definitely, because they the thing I'll say is very simple. They actually look you in the eye when they talk to you in their office. I would say that, because I was just honestly, every physician I had who was palm colored, for instance, um, shout out to Torian. It's like I'm here. I'm like moving my head, like hello, hello. I look you in the eye when I talk to you. I'm sorry, that's just how I was raised. And if you can't look me in the eye, I just get up and walk out. Okay. And that might be disrespectful, but this is my insurance. Okay, paying for this. And my $10 copay, I can get that back real quick, because this is not done. So definitely that is what I noticed. Very simple things like that. The nuances are necessary, especially as a female, having OBGYN, have even a male having a specialist, definitely look to having someone that looks like you. They do it all the time in their cultures. So why not us?
Absolutely, brother Don C.
And you guys see why I say no. I say Nicole is my apprentice in the ways of the dark side. That's why she's the force is strong in her. I would say, when it comes, especially some specialty, they like, let's say I was going to travel home and stuff, and I need to see somebody about tropical diseases. Yeah, I would probably be more comfortable with someone from the islands or from Africa. It's more firsthand knowledge and dealing with that. You know, um, I guess you could say it may depend, especially on specialty. Like, for example, when I had my issue with my sinuses, I knew I needed to see a specialist about that. That didn't matter. So, like, let's say if you're gonna do anything with mental health, definitely you want someone same background. They have a better understanding. General physician, yeah. But if it's a very let's say you had like I guess if it's something that requires a specialist, sometimes depending on what the specialty is, you make that luxury, but definitely more with the more preventative care and mental health. Definitely, you want them to be closer background. Definitely.
All right. And one final question for all of you. When can I get you back up on here, man? Because I rather enjoy this conversation. When can I get you back on here, brother Don C?
For me, I don't know, man. Like I said, we've been trying for quite a while. My son pretty. It just so happens I'm in this week, so I know we'll have to play it by ear.
All right. Well, hit me up, because you and I we actually talk behind the scenes.
Look, you got this, and you got Dr. Dunbar. Even if I can't be there, you got two people. You got two more good black scientists.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, brother X. Anytime, if there's anything I could do to help out what you're doing, I'm very passionate about getting our young people turned on to science, and I'm trying to tell my story as much as I can.
Absolutely, that's what I was saying. I gotta get you back on here, Doc. Lady Nicole, you as well. So we can talk some STEM stuff, and maybe you can I don't know, influence some people to get interested in STEM, and who knows, man, what can come of it, man. So it'd be nice to get you back on here, man, at some point. You know, I know a lot of times we come up here, you know, and we be arguing and fussing and talking all kinds of crap, but every now and then T.P.O.T. we do a serious show. Every now and then. So it would be nice.
I enjoy those.
Yeah. You know, I would love to have you come back, Doc, and you, Lady Nicole. But Lady Nicole, you've been on here before. I've had you on. It's been a while, but you've been up here before, and you know, every now and then X does do a serious show. So you know, it would be nice to have you good folks come back again. It would be.
Well, I thank you. I appreciate that. And you know, that really means a lot. Yeah,
I'll try to get in contact with you. I don't know, maybe in the middle of this month or something like that. You know, we have a few things booked because I book a lot of stuff in advance. But I want to get you back up here, Lady Nicole, and you too, Doc.
Okay, I just dropped my channel in the chat.
Oh, absolutely. I like it.
Yeah. I'm very glad. Dr. Dunbar and Nicole showed up, because there's no way my black Haitian ass could have carried this show the whole time. And I'm disappointed BGS didn't show up, because you know a lot of realizes you know, yes, his training was as a chemist, so you know, he is a scientist. In case you guys don't know. So
hey, I'm just happy
black scientists out there.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just happy you guys let me hang out with you guys. So,
oh, absolutely, man. Anytime, man. Anytime, and I mean it. Anytime. And like I said, I'll be hitting you both up probably in the next couple of weeks. All right, get you back up here, man. Talk some STEM stuff, man. You know,
all right.
Good night.
You got it, man. I appreciate it.
See y'all later. Peace.
All right, everybody.
Take it easy. Peace, Lady Nicole. Peace. Good doctor. Peace, Brother Don C. And I see my other scientist out there, the good old Doc Phoenix. I should have hit Doc Phoenix up, man. Had him up here too. God damn it.
Damn, he was here.
He
must have just showed up. Damn.
Miss my move, man. Miss my damn move. Yeah, that's my man right there, man. He usually come up here and, you know, keep me up to speed on his scientific and medical stuff. You know, he won't
Doc
allow
Phoenix
me.
Is good in my book. He
won't allow me to be dumb.
Next time we're up, you gotta get his black ass on the panel too.
Oh, well, the doc is a regular on the T.P.O.T YouTube page now. You know, the doc is a regular up here. I think I had the doc up here not too long ago, maybe a few weeks ago.
Well, shame on him for not coming tonight. His presence was missed on the panel.
Yeah, absolutely.
It would have been even that much better.
Absolutely, man. I should have hit him up. That's what I should have did. But I know he's busy. He does a lot of stuff, so I try not to bug the doc too much, because I'm always hitting him up like last minute, like, "Yo, doc, can you come on like in an hour?" We're going live in an hour. Can you come on? You know, so I try not to mess with him too much, because he's up here a lot. I mean, the doc was just up here a couple weeks ago. I had him up here, so you know, I try not to bug folks. I try not to bug folks too much, man. You know, but whenever I go to feeling dumb, that's when I hit the doc up, so it can come up here and keep me from being dumb. You know what I'm saying? So he good money here, so he's always welcome here. But Brother Don C, man, I appreciate you coming through, man. You know you're my brother. You know, you know you're my brother, man. And we'll talk, because you know we actually talk, you know, in real life. So you know, I'll be hitting you up, man. I'll be hitting you up, man. You know you're my brother, man. I appreciate you coming through tonight, man. I do.
All right, man. And everybody, if you're still in the chat, if you haven't hit the like button, hit the like button on your way out. You know,
because if you don't, I'm
gonna haunt you in your dreams.
If you don't, I will haunt your old black ass mama in her dreams. You already know I be floating over mama bed tonight. She'll come running down to your room in the basement. She'll come running down there and be like, "Oh my God, there's a man floating over my bed." You'll be like, "What he look like?" "Oh, he's tall. He's got dreads and a lock socket." You'll be like, "Oh, that's just X. I forgot to hit that damn like button." I'll do it, because if I don't he will be back tomorrow.
That's right, Negroes. If you don't hit the like button on their way out, Brother X will be your stepdaddy tonight.
Yeah, I'll be floating over Mama Bed tonight. She look up, I'll be standing next to her, boy. Brother Darcy, I appreciate you, brother. Always a pleasure, my man.
Right, take care. Bounce. It's been a pleasure, man. See you next time.
Peace, brother.
All right, goodbye.
Yeah, just got off the line with 3 scientists, man. I had my man Don C, because me and him, me and Don C, we actually talk pretty regularly. We got each other's phone numbers and shit. And I talked to him like last week, and I was like, man, you gotta come on, man, drop some science, chop it up. And shit, before I know it, Nicole Ali was in the chat room. She too is a scientist, and Dr. Anwar Dunbar as well. So I had 3 very, very big brains up here. The only stupid person on the panel was me. So they came up here, man. If you came in late, man, go ahead, man, and rewind it back, man. Some good stuff got dropped tonight. Like I said, I had Dr. Dunbar up here, Nicole Ali, and Don Calypso up here. 3 STEM professionals. This is what they do for a living. And they dropped some good stuff tonight, man. So you might want to go back, man, and check it out, man. I'm just saying, But anyway, I'm going to run a commercial or 2, and then we're going to come back, man, and we're going to close out, and I'm going to have some programming notes for you as well. So I'll see you on the other side of the break. All right.
Open your mind.
Hey guys, T.P.O.T. on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. But you knew that already. Peace, folks. This is Teacher Tanisha. You're listening to the T.P.O.T. Media YouTube page. Now back to the show.
Yeah, we about to wrap this up, but before we go, just a few programming notes. Y'all know Wednesday night round here is usually debate night, but we're not going to be debating this week. Wednesday, we are going to have a little sit down. It's going to be me and the B1 GOAT. And the title of the show is Let's Settle This. I don't know if y'all are aware of what's been going on, but you will definitely find out on Wednesday night right here on the T.P.O.T. YouTube page. I'm gonna have the B1 GOAT up here, and we're gonna hammer some goddamn things out. All right. Yeah. We're going to hammer some things out. So make sure you have your black behinds here at 9:30 p.m. Eastern time on the T.P.O.T. YouTube page. Do not miss it. I'm supposed to have a special guest interview on Thursday. I haven't written, that one's not written in stone as of yet, but look for the thumbnail. You shall see it if it's going to go down. But make sure you're here Thursday. Make sure you're here Wednesday, though, because that should be a pretty good stream. I would count on it. But yeah, I appreciate everybody coming through tonight. And good look on that $10 super chat. The good Doc Venus. He says, I missed tonight's discussion. I have to catch the replay. Yeah, Doc, you got to check it out, man. They dropped some jewels up in here tonight, man. Drop some jewels in here tonight. There's nothing like having 3 scientists on the panel. Nothing beats it. Nothing trumps it. Only person that was missing was you. If you was here, boy, I'd have had a full clip. I wouldn't even have to say anything. I could have just stayed in the background. Appreciate that though, brother. Yeah, I appreciate all you good folks, man, coming out tonight, man, as always. Y'all know how we do it here. You know, I know we get up here from time to time and, you know, we talk crazy and do a lot of craziness up here. But tonight was actually a serious show. Like I said, man, go ahead, hit the rewind, man, and watch it from the beginning, man. I'm pretty sure you will absolutely positively learn something from tonight's show. I mean, that's just the truth, man. I mean, I can't stress that enough. But as always, man, always appreciate you good folks out there, man. And I appreciate you good folks up here in this chat room as well, man. It's always good to be up here with you good folks, man. Always, as always, I know sometimes, man, this internet stuff, man, gets a little insane. But it's good to know that it's some black folks out there, man, some very intelligent black folks, man, and part of their jobs, well, the biggest part of their job is that they're trying to save lives, man, and mostly black lives. All right. Mostly black lives they are out there trying to save. That is the mission of these good folks, man. And I think a lot of times folks like that don't get enough recognition, man. And I felt like tonight was a good night to give them some recognition. So go ahead, check out the stream. If you missed it and you came in late, man, some good stuff got said tonight, man. And you heard them. I'm going to try to get them back here pretty soon, man, probably within the next couple of weeks. So be looking out for that. All right. All right. So with that, I will leave you with 3 words. You know, like a always. Oh, hold up. I cannot go without mentioning Lady Nicole's super chat. Good look on that super chat, Lady Nicole. She said, thank you again, Brother X. And chat, have a good evening. You do the same, Lady Nicole. And I want you back up here soon. I'll be coming knocking in another couple of weeks. So be looking for me. Be looking out the window. X will be walking up in the yard. I appreciate it tonight, though, Lady Nicole. I do. Yeah. So with that, I will leave you with 3 words. You know, like I always do. Open your mind. Dark exit. Peace, folks. See y'all Wednesday night. Have your ass here. Dark exit. Open your mind. Yeah, X.
dark exit, dark exit, dark exit. You understand? Yeah, you understand? Open your mind. Dark exit. Yeah, exit. You understand? Yeah, exit. Open your mind. Dark, 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 dark exit, dark exit, dark exit, dark exit.
Only from the Prophet of Thought series media.
You know, you know, you know, you know, you know.
Open your mind. 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 Open your mind.